Good evening, everybody, and welcome. We're back for another week of Division 5 action in League of Europe. As always, I am KillerBlue295, and joining me is once again QVR Packer, and we're at round 14 at the Hungary. We've just got 4 races to go now. The title battle is nearing its conclusion. I say title battle, it's starting to turn into something of a title walkover. XL Major leads by 39 points from NL Energetics. Connor O'Keefe and Harry F are tied in third place on 117, and we've got Marcy on 90 points, Swip on 81. He picked up his second podium in 3 races last week with a fantastic drive at China. We've got Ghost Recon behind him, H. Maguire 6, who I'm sure Packer is also expecting to qualify on pole and retire within 3 laps. The only thing we're both desperately hoping for this evening is a dry race, and Packer, let's fingers crossed we get it.
Yeah, hoping for a dry race. I think you and me have had a little bit too much rain in the last few weeks, especially in Division 1. Another wet qualifying for us this evening, and it does seem to be dry here for Division 5 of round 14, of course, as you mentioned already. And it's time to get going for the Hungary. As you mentioned, 39 points is Major's championship lead, and if he outscores Energetics here by 13 points, you could have a hand on that championship.
A hand, not 2 hands, because of course we've still got 78 points available after today. Oh, we've got someone out on. Oh no, I was going to say we've got someone out on track that's not an Alpine, but we have got the 2 Alpines out on track as per tradition. It's Harry F and Ben Scott. Ben Scott should come into the pits at the end of this lap, because that leads us in beautifully to the fact that Serial Killer, Ghost Recon, Alex Lilliart and Ben Scott all have qualifying bans this season for an assembly of various misdemeanours, shall we say, throughout the season. Lots of licence points tallying up going on, and Ben Scott, his most recent licence points, as we ride on board with him now, for giving, let's say, not making the best of friends with Jav last week at China when he hit the Aston Martin into turn 2 and left Jav with irreparable floor and side pod damage. It's going to be Harry F, who is the first to start a lap. But Packer, have you got any early predictions? We mentioned H. Maguire is inevitable bottle in the race to come. But who are you feeling today?
Hungary is going to be a difficult circuit for these drivers to manage. It's known as Monaco without the walls. And the last time we went to Monaco, someone who's not even in Division 5 anymore won the race, and that would have been Bowers, who left us a few races later. But yeah, anyways, Harry F just heading on to his first lap as Ben Scott does pull into the pit lane, and I'd imagine he would retire once he hits that pit box. I'm sure he will, as the responsible person he is. Harry F activating DRS down towards turn 2, braking into this off-camber downhill left-hander. Very difficult as you wind up the power, head through this right-hand kink of turn 3. You don't want to be going side by side through there. I found that out the very difficult way. Through the first sector, split to 27.0. Very easy to validate there on the exit, but Harry F keeps it within the bounds as they head through turn 5. You don't want to be on the inside curb, but you can use the outside as you break into the chicane of 6 and 7 very nicely through there, and now into 8 and 9. You want to be a little bit more to the left on the entry for the right-hander there, and now into turn 10 and turn 11 here, this right-hander where the stewards are watching track limits. You don't want to be washing out wide there, do you really? Purple middle sector for Harry F as he's first driver on a lap, and he's invalidated there through turn 12, and he will promptly back off his lap. Let's see if there's anyone else, or who's the next driver is going to be. I think it's Mercedes bound to be Ibo, but he is on an outlap. So the next driver would be Williams Ricky on an outlap as well. So Alfa Romeo, Speed Josh. Last time I believe he competed in Division 5, he won in Russia. So hopefully another good race for the reserve driver.
He did indeed. I think we have got one driver finishing up. It's going to be Swip. Oh yeah, it goes Speed Josh 15-2. Not at all a bad first effort. Lex stakes a nice claim for provisional pole early on. Swip 1.6 seconds off the pace with his first effort. Got the 2 Alpha Tauris just behind him. Major had gone invalid on his first effort. H. Maguire as well,
yep.
Also invalid. So we've come to think that Alpha Tauri sort of start to dominate qualifying really in the latter half of this Division 5 season, but invalidation's not the way to start the session. Marcy's popped in his first lap 2.2 seconds off the pace, and H. Maguire's already gone invalid again there on the exit of turn 1. That is bizarre. Don't normally see cars going anywhere near the outside of the track there. Serial Killer makes his obligatory retirement. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That's just a Haas going slowly of Connor O'Keefe. So we're seeing a lot of invalidations early on. And between that and the qualifying bans, it could be a while before we see the full complement of cars having set laps in the top 10. I say that, but Major's just set. That's nowhere near a quick enough sector 1. Energetics has popped in at 3.6 seconds off the pace, and now Connor O'Keefe is 12 seconds off the pace. So not really too many quick laps going in that one of Speed Josh looking unchallenged so far.
Yeah, Speed Josh, I think that's something around where is going to be a little bit more representative. Maybe get into the 14s possibly. It'll be interesting to see that can at least be said, as I could barely get my words out. One of the Williams is crossing the line. That's Axel Kurz starting a lap there. Is going to be the 2 Alpha Towers into the pit lane, I'd imagine here. Unless Excel Major wants to go again, trying to start his lap again as he opens up DRS. Is there anyone else? Marcy is rounding the final corner, but he's invalid on those medium tires. You can go for quite a while in the mediums. They do start to overheat if you do not take care of them. As just hits the pit lane, Energetics was invalid, and he's rounding the final corner again. Connor O'Keefe, I think, is just heading through the final sector. He backed off in the final sector on his previous lap. He's a tenth and a half down currently on his previous best time. Let's see what he can do through the final sector. 40% ERS as the fourth gear, not short shifting. A little bit of understeer on that Haas as well as he comes through the final corner, and he improves by 10 seconds and up to P3, fastest out of everybody on the mediums. And also, just to note, Speed Josh has selected the mediums in the pit lane.
Well, let's have a look at tyres actually, because you mentioned we haven't put them on so far, because I like keeping the screen nice and clean as we go through quali. I don't like that being too intrusive. But yes, a lot of people on mediums so far, so that's why I think we've got quite the field spread that we have. The back end of the grid looking very sparse, shall we say, for times. Only the top 8 have set them so far. We've just seen Axel has popped in a 16.7, but he is on the softs. That is worth noting. Connor O'Keefe, Marcy on mediums. Let's go on board with Harry F. Let's see if he can keep it valid this time. So, flick it into turn 4. Nearly invalidated last time and nearly drops the car completely this time. I know all about that. I've had a crash there on the inside wall, I think in season 5, I want to say. But he may as well go on and finish the lap because he's got no time on the board at all to speak of for now. And he doesn't finish the lap in the end. He lets Jamie Met go, who will pick up then for the rest of this lap through turns 10. You want to flick it into 11, and he picked the grass up on the outside on just as he was spotting his turning point. The car nearly spat out underneath him through the grass. We've got a Red Bull that's round on the exit of turn 1.
Energetics. That's
Energetics. Serial Killer has retired, so he's doing his old trick of spinning and then taking an age to recover, as we saw last week. Let's see Jamie Met hustle his car around the final corner, and I know all about that as well, because I did the exact same thing in Division 1 not an hour and a half ago, not even an hour ago probably. Jamie Met, there we go, drag race to the line, 22.9, still quicker than XL Major, but not the best of laps, shall we say. And Harry F does get a first time on the board, a 27.9 for him. But really, we've only got maybe 3 representative soft times on the board. 4, Speed Josh, Axel, Swip, Jess. Everyone else is keeping the softs in pocket and just going for those mediums.
Yeah, Connor O'Keefe, Morrissey doing multiple laps, Energetics, Ibo as well, all doing multiple laps on the mediums. Energetics, I think, is on an in-lap right here, and I think Excel Major just starting another lap as Harry F has retired down at turn 5. That's an interesting place to drop it. We saw him drop it a little bit earlier on, not put it in the wall, but this time unfortunate enough to put it there as we watched on, well, I watched on board with H. Maguire coming through turn 5. Just watching that incident a little, or watching that the scene of the incident there, just a little bit too much because he invalidated on the exit of turn 5. So that's
Major's gone. Turn 3. I caught that very late, but I think he just smothered the inside curb, or maybe he caught the outside curb and the car just wouldn't stick. And well, there we go. We said he had one hand on the championship, but maybe he slipped to 3 or 4 fingers now.
Yeah, it's still going to be, he's still going to need quite a performance. Obviously, he has a lap time on the board better than most of the people. Ricky looking to change that. He's just starting a lap. TTG Abood. There we go.
Abood. You still can't help yourself, can you? Abood.
Yeah, Abu just rounding turn 4 there. Purple in the first sector, it says. He's looking pretty all right here on these medium tires. As I say that, he has a little bit of a slide heading into the chicane. We're mounting the entry curve there as he stretches to 4th gear, just looking to get the exit here through turns 8 and turn 9, and he's backed off very promptly as H. McGuire is also going again. Purple first sector, it says, for him on the track map. Is he going to keep it valid through turn 5? Yes, he does. And now into the heart of the middle sector through chicane. A little bit wide over that inside curve. That's not really where you want to be, as he flicks it into 8 down to 4th gear to get the rotation. Staying in 4th for 9 as well, just trying to carry the speed a little on the inside curve. Not exactly where you want to be as we head into 11. Very easy to invalidate here, but keeps it on the track as it's a 53.971 through the middle sector. Split a little bit wide of the apex at turn 12 and now into turn 13. Very difficult corner to get right, especially here on the exit. You have to wind and the power, be so very cautious, and now flick it into the final corner. Wait and wait before you can apply the power. And out of the final corner with DRS active. Let's see what it's going to be for H. McGuire. It's a 15.8. Second driver into the 15s, but still 6/10 shy of Speed Josh.
Maybe Speed Josh is just sweating a little bit on that one. Rickia has just crossed the line with a 17.0 to go P5, albeit 1.8 seconds away from pole position right now. Let's have a look if we've got any other laps. Jess is improving by a couple of hundreds through the middle sector from her 17.7. Marcy really the only driver immediately in sight of her in terms of the timing sheets. But Jess is going to come into the pits. So we've got Energetics finishing a lap. He's on his 5th lap on these mediums. No surprise he's coming into the pits, and I think he's going to have to switch to the softs. Let's have a look at Ibo. 20.7 for now.
Swip on a lap as well.
Yeah, we've got Swip on a lap, yes, as you say, 4/10 up. That'll bring him safely into P3. At this rate, he has to have a couple of stabs at the last corner, but keeps the car turned in. Nice one, sweeping motion there. Short blast the line. He goes to 16.3, doesn't threaten. He doesn't even get within a second of Speed Josh. Such is the dominance. Although Abood popped in a 16.0 there, sight unseen. Didn't see any of that lap, but he's gone there. P3 on the medium tyre. That is a very ominous and threatening time that he's come within 8/10 of Speed Josh's tyre. So if you have a look at switch to the best lap time, Speed Josh's best lap is on the medium, and the delta between the soft and the medium here, Packer, about 1.2 seconds according to the game. So Abood could certainly go quicker than that 15.2 if he put some softs on if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could find himself right into the 14s if he's able to hook up a lap, but we've seen already in this session a lot of drivers unable to keep the car on the track and keep their lap time valid. A few of them have been able to do that, obviously Speed Josh, H. McGuire, Swip, and Abood as well. All the prime examples. Not many people out on track right now, just Abood, Swip, who just are on in-laps, I would imagine. And then Ibo as well. I think Ibo's on a lap, not entirely sure, but he's very low on ERS, so he's been pushing for a few laps here. His best lap time currently is on the mediums, and he's on his 2nd lap on these softs as he just invalidated, I believe. There through that chicane, he's a bit wide here through 9 as well. Not anyone else on track besides Energetics, who's just come out of the pit lane now on a fresh set of soft tires. 5 minutes left here in qualifying. Are we possibly maybe seeing a little bit of rain? I know we usually see a lot of drivers out on mediums early on in the session, but it's gotten down to the last 5 minutes, and there's still people out there, well, we're out there just on the mediums.
My presumption is Energetics cuts the chicane there, but he backs off, so I don't think that would incur a penalty. My assumption would be that if there's going to be any rain, as you say, it'll probably come around 20 minutes into the race, maybe a little bit earlier, a little bit later, somewhere around that. Energetics is going quite quickly on his outlap here, and something we've not mentioned is how much these soft tyres overheat. You do more than, well, even by the end of the first qualifying lap, they will be screaming through the last corner, because you think these last 2 corners are such high load, and the front left is the tyre that's under the most strain throughout the lap, because it's a clockwise circuit, so the front left gets loaded up more often than the front right, and the really feel it through qualifying in the last corner. You can feel the car washing across the track because it doesn't want to grip up as much as it would be at the start of the lap, and you don't want to do a particularly quick outlap for that reason. Let's go on board with Energetics, and he's going to be the first person to set his final flying lap of the session. It's going to be his only flying lap on the softs. I've been popped in 5 on the medium tyres. He's going to flick it in to turn 6, and he doesn't flick it in. In fact, he turned in, turned out, and then turned in again. He made his turned into the corner far too early. He had to correct, and it was an overcorrection because he went flying wide through the exit turn 4. But he's kept the rest of this middle sector quite tidy. He will still be improving significantly on that 17.7, but it's far from what it could have been. Although any improvement is a big gain for Energetics, with Major out of the session down in 10th. He's 2.2 seconds up, which will currently put him around a mid 1 minute 16, around Axel's P5 for now. Maybe threatening Swip if he can find some more time in sector 3. Not full commitment there, and he's not going to come into the pits and have another go. He is going to commit to making this lap his only lap and just keep the left for the line, and it's a 16.2, and indeed he does just edge out Swip. He's got 3 minutes left. He's not going to get another lap in. He's not going to come back in time to get anything in. He can try and go for another lap, but those tyres will be overheating by the end of it, I guarantee it. So let's have a look further down the field. We've got Rickia not improving in sector 1. We've got Slumpcon, who I think is improving, coming around turn 4 and 5 now. He didn't look like he had the same sort of wobbles there that Energetics was having. It keeps it nicely, hooks up those apexes there at 6 and 7, now 8 and 9. He's just kissing those inside red and white curves. This is a really nice lap from Connor, and even hooks up turn 11 perfectly there, not using too much curb on the way in or the way out. Just a few more corners to go now. Again, he cuts it nicely, uses just the right amount of curb on exit. Maybe a little touch deep there into the second to last corner. Just one more to go. You want to turn in early here, or I tend to turn in early and then open the car up really nice and early on the exit, get the power down. Is this going to be pole? I think it's going to be pole. Not just. 15.3 puts him tantalisingly close to Josh, but not enough on this occasion.
Yeah, not quite enough for Connor O'Keefe there. A very tight lap for the Haas driver, but just not quite enough. I would like to mention that Speed Josh is out on track on the mediums, and considering I have never gone faster than 15.4 on the mediums, I don't think he'll be beating his time, or his current soft lap time, so I'm not entirely sure why he's out there on track. Maybe just to get a little bit of race practice in, possibly? I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, Energetics, Connor O'Keefe have retired. Connor O'Keefe being out on track, crashing through turn 3, or did he retire on track? And an interesting spot there was Connor O'Keefe's car. Anyways, we shall move on because H. McGuire is improving through the middle sector. It was 2.5 tenths. Let's see if he could find anything through the final few corners here, into the final corner down to 4th gear. Just rotating car. The tires are going to be starting to scream as you head through the middle sector in the final sector. 15.3 for H. McGuire. No improvement on position, but improvement on time. He's 5 100ths behind Connor O'Keefe now. He's going to have to go again if he wants to improve, but those tires are going to be absolutely finished. Anyone else on the lap right now? Abood is on an out lap. He'll just have enough time, and he's on the soft tires right now as well. Swip on an out lap just behind him. Axel heading through the final sector, but he's heading into the pit lane. His Williams teammate has just left the pit lane. He's not going to be anywhere near the line. I think Jess has just started a lap, and her teammate Jamie Met is just heading through the middle sector. Let's see for Jamie Met.
Jamie Met had a spin at turn 8, so I think it's just going to be Abood that we've got for big laps to come. Abood and Swip, and they're right next to each other on track with 20 seconds left. I think they've timed this perfectly, Packer. Do you want to take us through Abood's lap?
Yeah, sure, let's do it. A little bit deep into turn 1, but he's going to hit the apex very nicely. Short chip to 4th gear to get the traction on the exit in his Ferrari. Open up DRS down the hill towards turn 2 as time will begin to expire. Just hitting the edge of that clock. Opening up the corner very nicely for turn 2 and riding over that curb at turn 3. Let's see what it's going to be in the first sector for Abood. Looked pretty clean. He's up by 0.3 of a second. Flicks it into turn 4. A little bit wide of the apex, but he's able to keep it on track. Down to 4th gear for turn 5. Running it out wide just to get the best line. Carry the most speed possible now into the chicane of turn 6 and turn 7 over the inside curbs. Just manages it very nicely. 4th gear for turn 8 and turn 9. Short shifting to 5th to get the traction and then get the run through this left-hander, and now into turn 11. Let's see, he's a little bit wide. He doesn't back off. The stewards might have a look at that one. He's purple in the middle sector. He's up by 0.8 of a second. Looking good for pole as he invalidates there on the exit of turn 12. That lap would have been looked at anyways by the stewards. Wide at turn 11. Swip heading through the final sector now. Through the penultimate corner. Let's see what it's going to be for Swip. I didn't quite catch if he was up or not on his time. I'd just like to note, Bood was a 15 flat at the end of his lap, even though it was invalid. Swip to the line, proves by a 10th, moves in front of Energetics there for P5, and he's going to be starting on the third row of the grid. I think Jamie Matt is the only one else, or the only other driver out on track right now. Very low on ERS. Is it going to be any improvement? It's a 19.5. Didn't improve any positions, so Jamie Matt's going to be starting in P12, and that is going to be qualifying here.
I think Abood's very lucky he didn't finish that lap, and I'd like to point out as well that I spied with my little eye, H. Maguire 6 similarly extended at turn 11 on his fastest lap on that 15.372. So Abood lucky to invalidate, but maybe H. Maguire should have done if someone else saw that and reported it. I'm not sure why he's representing the Russian flag. He's gone down in my estimation, but let's have a look at the results. So Speed Josh is on pole, Connor O'Keefe in second, H. Maguire is in third, Abood fourth, Swip fifth, Energetic sixth, Marty seventh, Axel eighth, Rickia in ninth, Jess Games rounds out the top 10. Good qualifying for her. Ibo is in 11th. I think that might be his best qualifying of the season. Jamie Matt is 12th. Major 13th. Harrier 14th. Serial Killer Ben Scott goes to Recon. Round out the order with their qualifying bands. And this is nicely poised, I have to say. In terms of the championship, even if Energetic's hopes are looking remote, at least at this point. But just for the race as well, we've got a lot of drivers out position, both Alpines and XL Major. And we've got a really nice mix of quick drivers at the front of the field as well. We've got Abood, we've got Slumpcop, we've got H. Maguire, who's inevitably going to crash at some point. It looks finely poised.
Yeah, it really does, especially with Speed Josh up at the front on those soft tires. He's only needed one run on the soft tires in qualifying, so he does have those two fresh sets, just in case there are a few safety cars at the end of the race. But we will hope for a clean and quick one here in Division 5. Just, I'd say trying to get this circuit over with. I don't think really too many drivers appreciate the Hungaroring for what it is, but it does from time to time bring some fantastic racing, especially with the DRS zones down to turn 1, down to turn 2, in the middle sector as well. After that chicane, you can't go side by side quite easily, and especially on a safety car restart, we might see drivers doing that. We saw Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso battling into turn 4 just a year ago here in real life. So it's going to be very interesting to see. It can put up some very nice racing, but also is prone to a few DRS trains.
It is, and if anyone saw D1, there was some carnage. Self-inflicted from us two, mostly, or P's inflicted. And then also we saw incidents involving Julberim and Justas, and that caused a collision. I can't make any sense of whatsoever. About 5 or 6 cars involved in that one. Brought out a safety car. Was bonkers. But let's have a look here. We've got everyone on the medium outside the top 10. We've got everyone on the softs inside the top 10, Abood being the exception. He's on mediums after that fabulous qualifying, which he may have chosen to invalidate. Yeah, one does wonder, given he was able to start the medium. So I think he'll be looking medium hard. I think for most drivers today, I think we're going to see a 2-stop, but that remains to be seen. If you are wondering how things are going in Division 2, it's The Scream, currently in provisional pole from Timon, Ferg, Calvin and Marnix, and Sieb and then Kriko. D2 looking a bit different from our day. Packer has to be said. Larkin's down in D10th in the title fight. And Carl Mentalist and Gary not racing. So it's just Timon versus Larkin. The 12 for Romeo's there going at it for the Division 2 title here. It is one of the Alpha Tauris and one of the Red Bulls. It's XL Major, this man coming through the last corner now. And it's going to be Enel Energetics in P6. Packer, who's your money on? Just a winner today.
Let's go with Abood. Or Aboud, sorry.
Abood. No, Abood. Abood is the correct one. You got it right first time. So
let's go with Abood on the alternate strategy. I think those medium tires are really going to work wonders for him.
I agree. I'm going to say Abood. So we've got Josh and Conor O'Keefe on the front row, Maguire and Abood in behind. We've got 5 lights on ahead of everyone, and we are underway in the Hungara ring, and it looks like it was a pretty even start up front, but Mage has been taken out by one of the Alpines there, Harry F. involved, Jamie Met as well. Conor O'Keefe's taken the lead in turn 1, and H. Maguire tried to send it up the inside of the first corner, ended up just wiping out the Haas of Conor O'Keefe there. Completely the AlphaTauri's fault, in my estimation. At least just on first viewing, we've got Abood and Swip going at it through turn 2. Same said can be Marcy and Energetics. Energetics has gained a place, and further down we've got someone off in the background. Have we got any side by side towards turn 4? Marcy just sneaks ahead of Energetics through turns 4 there.
Oh, that's brave from Energetics. He tried to send it up.
And we've got the 2
5.
Alpines, and Ben Scott's missing a front wing. And I don't think anyone else is. Speed Josh and H. Maguire have really run away with this on the first lap. I think Conor O'Keefe's misfortunes have contributed to that. Abood and Swip looking healthy in P3 and P4 as well. And then it's Marcy Energetics in very close company in the battle for 5th place. Energetics needs to make the most of his title rival being down in P16. He needs every place he can get. 8 points will not be enough. It currently cut the arrears to just 29 points. So he needs more than what he's getting right now. But a frenetic opening lap, Packer.
Yeah, Ben Scott with that damage. Excel Major into the pit lane as well. Jess is going to be staying out there at the back, so maybe just a mistake trying to stay out of the wars a little bit. But Speed Josh, H. Maguire up at the front, running away with things. Those soft tires are going to be good right from the beginning, but once we hit lap 3, lap 4, those front lefts are going to be starting to overheat. Left rears as well, depending on your tire pressures and your your choice of device to play the F1 2021 game. Anyways, Abood P3 leading Swip, who's within DRS range. That DRS won't come into effect actually until about lap 4, going on to lap 4. Swip just a little bit wide through turn 4 there. Marcy and Energetics were getting into it on the back half of lap 1 there, but Marcy still in P5 for the time being. Energetics P6. We saw the 2 Williams side by side as well on lap 1. A Serial Killer is now splitting the 2 Williams on the medium compounded tire from outside the top 10. So good start for him. Ghost Recon from the back of the grid up to P10 as well. So another quiet performance really for Ghost Recon. From what I remember from last week, in the last 7 races, he either hasn't finished, and the one race that he did, he finished on the podium. So let's see what Ghost Recon can do here.
He seems to sneak his way into very good positions. Oh, we've got XL Major round at turn 4. Has he kept the car going? Let's quickly check in. I think he has. He's got no damage, at least visible damage. Let's go back to Energetics, Marcy and Swip. This is the battle of choice on track right now. The battle for P4. Swip is just struggling a little bit. These opening laps. Here goes Marcy right up the inside of turn 1. That was a send and a half. Swip was very generous with the space he left over. Marcy is through, and I think he needed to make that move because Swip struggling in these opening laps here. In the background as well, we've got Harry F. and Jamie Mayer having a bit of a battle there towards turn 1. And further ahead, we've got Ghost Recon very wide through turn 2. Conor O'Keefe's going to try underneath him. He ended up cutting turn 3 entirely there. Can't get the move done. Up ahead, Rickia and Serial Killer were in close company. Rickia got very out of shape through turn 3, and Serial Killer had half a look towards 4. That's ill-advised to go for any kind of overtake there. But a few drivers struggling here. Rickia looks like he's one of them. Here goes Serial Killer into turn 8. And again, Rickia generous with the space. Swip was into turn 1, but he then just squeezes the Red Bull out. Axel nips through. Perfect coordination there from the 2 Williams guys. They've gained themselves a place. Rickia goes wide at turn 11. Axel gets out the throttle. Here comes Serial Killer back up the inside. And we've got a yellow flag. That is Speed Josh's round at turn 13. But in the meantime, we're just sticking with this battle for a second. Here comes Axel trying to go back up the inside of Serial Killer. Oh no, that was nearly a Jewel Bream Justas moment there. But up ahead, or rather behind now, Speed Josh is, he's nowhere to be seen.
Maybe a wheel issue or some sort of device issue, because he kind of just pulled off there.
I'm thinking, was there a collision with H. Maguire or some kind of mistake? Because Abood was behind H. Maguire. He's now leading this race. I am right in saying it was a Speed Josh Maguire 1-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Abood, in all the excitement of the last lap, I wasn't sure if we'd missed an overtake, but Abood has taken the lead of this race, so something happened to H. Maguire. I don't suppose you saw what?
No, not entirely sure either.
Rickia, Axel and Ghost Recon and Conor O'Keefe are still providing plenty of entertainment in the midfield there, from P7 down to P10. Oh, and there's a big moment there for, I think that was Axel, went straight over the advertising audience or the braking markers, and then Ghost Recon got out of shape, ended up running Connor O'Keefe straight off the track at turn 8. There's some questionable wheel-to-wheel combat here, I think, to put it lightly, in the first 4 laps. But the upshot of everything is that Aboud leads. Maguire is in second, remarkably still in the race. Maguire, this must be a record for him from a good position to last 4 laps. Oh no, Axel!
Oh, that's two
And
people.
he's taken Ghost Recon out as well. That was identical to what I saw almost between Nathan and Izzat in Division 1. And Harry F has been sent there by Axel towards turn 1. We've got a safety car, but that had shades of Nathan and Izzat and D1 all over again. It's Ghost Recon and Axel this time. Axel just couldn't get the power down. The car swerved this way, then it swerved to the left, and he just collected Ghost Recon, who was a helpless passenger there. What was your take on it, Packer?
I had not the greatest of camera angles. I just saw, I believe it was Riccier going very wide, almost Sebastian Vettel-esque, and then bringing it back to the left, and then I saw 2 cars in the wall. I would be surprised if Riccier got away with damage. I don't think he hit the wall too hard, but Ghost Recon obviously losing a wheel out of this race now. Another DNF for the American reserve driver. 7th at championship still. That's his only DNF of the season coming in the Netherlands. So, his only other DNF of the season coming in the Netherlands. So, yeah, not entirely sure what happened there, but obviously quite a big incident. But now, as this safety car will begin to shake up the strategies, and it has already. H. Maguire into the pit lane. Aboud will stay out. I think. From what we learned in Division 1, I thought it would have been a good idea for everybody to just come in for hard tires, but obviously not the decision that Aboud was taking, not the decision that Serial Killer is taking either, and neither for Ibo, who started also on the mediums.
Ibo is in P3, ladies and gentlemen. Scream it from the terraces. Sir Ibo is in P3. On merit. Fairly to say. But, Packer, would I be too cheesy if I say Aboud is screwed with his strategy? Because, as you say, I think when we'll come in and put hards on, let's have a look at the tyres in question. No, actually, he's not, because everyone is committed to a 2-stop. Energetics is coming for softs. Bizarre. Harry F's gone for hards. Ben Scott's gone for hards. So the Alpine's the only sane people here going for the correct strategy. You can just run hards to the end. If any of you Division 5 drivers are listening, and I'm sure some of you are, I know XL Major tunes into the streams, you can pit for hards from this point and go to the end. So, make that what you will. But everyone else has gone mediums. I'm confounded by Energetic's choice of softs. I think he's banking on another safety car, as is Aboud. And, given how this race is started, that's a very reasonable assumption to make. I don't think let's go through leave the session. But I don't think there's any question that we might have another safety car. Just quickly to check in with Division 2. It's a Timon Larkin front row. We've got an Alfa Romeo title battle front row to come. So why are you watching us? Go tune into Division 2. Go join Daka and J. Cole. No, please stick with us. We are desperate for the views. Who's winning this race, Packer?
Well, as of right now, I'd say Aboud is still probably on the best strategy. Medium to hard, unless he's planning to do a 2-stop, is the best strategy as of right now. Besides Ben Scott and Harry F being on those hard compound tires, as you mentioned, they can go directly to the end of this race, complete the rest of the 35 laps that we will be doing here tonight. So, yeah, the 2 Alpines look set for it right now. Those hard tires never die. If anything, they get quicker the longer you go on them. But yeah, besides that, I think H. Maguire has a shot, as well as Marcy. Marcy, I would just like to mention, was on 25% ERS on lap 3. Is quite the characteristic of Marcy. We've seen him do that so very many times, as well as on soft. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. Harry F. and Ben Scott, I would imagine, would drop maybe a position or two. Excel Major is going to be looking to make up quite a few positions on those mediums as well. I'm surprised he didn't pit for a set of the hard tires, even though he was already on a set of the hard tires when he got that damage on lap 1. So we'll see what happens, as safety car will not be in on this lap, I wouldn't think.
Well, it depends on if XL Major gets to hurry on and catches up. I think we could get a late call. I don't think Major's hanging around too much, and I'm excited to see how Ibo deals with this restart. If he is going to rightfully defend his P3, which is his, there are no blue flags. Ibo is in P3. Yeah, we go safety car in this lap. Or if he's going to do the customary Ibo tactic of driving straight on at turn 1. We shall see. Which Ibo has shown up today. The one that we usually see, or the one that turns up for REL Car Mentalist. So Abood is going to lead them away. Is he going to go before the last corner, mid-last corner, or is he going to wait all the way to the line? He takes the extreme outside of the track. He's going to wind the car up, put the throttle down, go as early as he can on that on the power. And here comes Cyril Kelly. He's going to tuck into the slipstream there. Ibo's going to get past by Marcy towards turn 1. Ibo's just staying out of the way, but oh no, he's not staying out of the way. Ibo's going for this into turn 1. Oh no, he's not. He's backing out. I was getting the two Mercedes confused, but he's not going straight onto turn 1. So Ibo is having a go here. Marcy's going to go H. Maguire into turn 2. This is going to be a cheeky little move if he can pull this one off. Is he going to try and hang it around the outside of 3? No, he has to concede the place there. Energetics is up into 5th. Ibo's in 6th now, and he's going to go side by side into turn 4. I am scared. Oh no, he backs out. Ibo, please. Fight and win, as the Americans say. And I think we've got Energetics on his very racy soft tyres. Going to have a look at Marcy towards the 6 and 7 chicane. You can see how much more traction he's got there out of turn 7 through 8 and 9. But this is a very single file. There's no room side by side through here, unless you're Division 1. Ow! And Energetics catches a massive slide there through turn 11, and we've got in the background a Slumpcon going up the inside of Riccia into turn 12. That's nicely done from the man who's currently sitting pretty in 3rd place in the championship, looking to have a go. Energetics, and look at that, that's opportunism in the extreme from Speed Josh through turn 13 there, and he nabs a place, and then Riccia loses a 3rd one to Harry F on the run to 14. Nightmare a few corners there for Riccia. He's lost 3 places in as many corners, but we're now on to lap 9, and we've got Energetics here up the inside of Marcy into turn 1. He needs to make this move, and he just runs the Mercedes clean out the track. I think he's going to have more traction. Indeed he does. Marcy, is he going to send this back into turn 2? He thought about it, but wisely backs out of that one. We've got an Alpine in the pits. That's Ben Scott yet again, and Ibo still running in P7 on Ibo watch.
Yeah, Conor O'Keefe not able to make the move into turn 1. Ibo a little bit wide through turn 4. Conor O'Keefe looking around the outside of turn 5 as we have someone out. That's Harry F on the hards. That's both Alpines and a virtual safety car as well. So that's both hard runners out of this race. Ben Scott having to make a pit stop and change, and now it's been changed to a full safety car. So that does kind of save... well, it doesn't really change anything for anyone besides a few position changes. Ibo down to 8th from 3rd place, and Conor O'Keefe getting a little bit of a break there, making that move around the outside of turn 5 just before the safety car came out. H. Maguire, Serial Killer, TDG Aboud as well, P1, P2, P3, and Energetics up to P4. Those soft tires, well, he got the best out of them for as long as he could, really, because 2 laps, that's about as long as soft tires will last before they start overheating. Serial Killer into the pits. Please be for hards. Okay, let's hope this is for hards. Otherwise, me and Packer are going to scream. It's for softs. It's for softs, and there's no front wing change. I am going to mute myself and scream. And we're back. So Abood was really locked in. At least Ibo's in for hards. Ibo's in for hards. Ibo on the right strategy. Ibo making the GOAT strategy calls, putting Serial Killer to shame. I no longer need to scream. Ben Scott is staying out on softs. God knows why. I'm just a little bit bemused at this race. If you're tuning in, this is welcome to welcome to episode 14 of Killer and Packer are confused by Division 5 strategies. We're on lap 10, and we've seen
many pit stops. Abood has not made one. He's the only person to have not made a stop yet. And really, apart from Harry F, who then went and crashed out, Ippo is flying the flag here for strategic common sense. Such is the crazy times we live in. Everyone else is committed to a 2-stop. Energetics probably thinking this is a 3-stop race. Serial Killer the same. The Red Bulls are confusing me. I'm sure they're confusing you as well. Ben Scott, God knows what he's doing. He's having a special race, shall we say? It's Ben Scott. Yes. Just yes.
Yeah, Ben Scott, as you mentioned, special race. He's made 3 pit stops already in this one, from mediums to mediums, from mediums to hards, and then from hards to softs. As the safety car will go one more lap, as Ben Scott was a little bit too late catching up to the back of the field. But let's, I guess, talk about strategy a little bit more. At this point, I think most people could go to the end of the race. Obviously, Ibo, depending on tire pressures, of course, and driving style. Everybody who's on the mediums right now, obviously besides Abood, because he is forced to make at least one more pit stop in this race, could go to the end of this race, especially with the second safety car period. Energetics will be forced to pit. Serial Killer, Ben Scott as well, because Soft's no good. So, as of right now, I'd say H. McGuire, net lead. Marcy P4, but obviously with that penalty, Swip and Connor O'Keefe has looked pretty quick as well. Speed Josh has just been following the Haas through as well. So I think, if anything, right now, barring a mistake from H. McGuire, I say, as of right now, in this current situation, as it begins to get a little bit clouded over as well, just to mention, H. McGuire to win, Speed Josh and Connor O'Keefe to follow him second and third.
What if it is going to rain? And that's why we saw so many mediums in qualifying. And Abood is just hanging out for the rain. Everyone's gone softs and mediums to put me to shame because some rain's coming. I hope that's the case. In stream chat, hello chat, all 6 of you. FVR Andreas, who you remember back all the way back to Kota at pre-season, safety car is in this lap. Looked very competitive and then disappeared off the face of the earth. Says Abood is probably going for the softs at lap around 25. So we're thinking medium soft for Abood, are we? That's permitting there's no rain, because as you say, it is clouding over. So let's see when Abood's going to let the ball roll. Chess Game gets penalty for colliding with Axel. And this is what happens when you run too close to the car in front. I'm having my driving lessons, I know. I get told off every time I go too close to the car in front. Here we go, Abood's taking the same line through the last corner. And he has had a very nice restart there. But look at Energetics. He's got a mighty one on the back of H. McGuire. And is he going to send one towards turn 1? He may as well do on those soft tyres. He's got nothing to lose at this point because he's got to make another stop anyway. But then so is everyone else. He's not going for it. But Connor has made a move on Swip. Couple of changes of position in the background as well. Involved. Oh, and Energetics, I've missed that, has passed H. McGuire into turn 2. He's now going to have a look at Abood. Look at this up the hill towards turn 4. Now, heart in your mouth moment there, but Abood's very tight through turn 4. He's got the inside line for 5, but that's going to lose him, scrub him off some speed. Can Energetics get a better run out of 5 towards the chicane of 6 and 7? He had to, Abood parked the car in the middle of the track. Energetics had to get out of it. And I think, did I just see Speed Josh's round? I did. Just caught that, and then the camera cut away, but Speed Josh dropped it through turn 7, just caught the back end swinging out. He's our third retirement. He's our pole sitter. And this shambles of a race continues. And we're on lap 12 here. We're not third of the way through. We've had 2 SCs. We're now onto a VSC, which luckily isn't changing into a full one this time. So Speed Josh is out. And Ibo is still very much in play. Abood thought about a pit stop, didn't go for it. Energetics is coming in for a pit stop. He's going to take the opportunity to have a quickie there. Serial Killer also on the softs, staying out, even though he probably wouldn't get held behind his teammate. Well, let's see how long this VSC ends before. We're seeing some overtaking here under VSC between Major and Serial Killer. Just swap places, that's odd. But let's see, does the VSC last the whole duration of Energetics pit stop? It does indeed. I'll tell you what, energetics can go to the end now. And if everyone else were to pit, which I believe they will need to, apart from Ibo, just based on the way D5 go with their strategies, energetics is in the net lead of this race.
Yeah, he P14 right now on track as the VSC will end. The VSC lasted almost an entire lap there, so energetics very lucky with that VSC and pitting for those soft tires. So possibly strategy masterclass from the Red Bull driver. Previous championship leader as Excel Major will make a move on Riccia. I really think that Riccia was just a break in the train. Let's say a bottleneck for an adjective there. Bottleneck in the train.
Well done, Packer. Use your big words.
Safety car bringing him back into things, but I really think he's really not quite the pace of other drivers such as Serial Killer, Excel Major, making his way past, and Ben Scott I'm sure will be making his way soon once he makes way of Jess. But now Excel Major is going to be into the very clouded sunset and will be on to the back of Axel in in a lap or two's time.
My savage commentary is going to continue here. Riccia is shockingly slow on this safety car restart. He had a big moment where Serial Killer nearly nipped past him in the middle sector of the last lap. And behind, we've got Jess Game at Ben Scott towards turn 2. Here comes Ben Scott at the inside of Jess. Is just going to leave just enough room. I think she is, and there goes Ben Scott. He's got the outside line for turn 3, and Jess had to get out of that one. But Ben Scott is through into 10th place. Nicely done there. The two McLarens almost dicing towards turn 4. Jess goes a little bit wide, and Jamie May will be waiting for an opportunity to pounce on the back of his teammate there. Abood has checked out a little. 1.4 seconds is the lead on H. Maguire. Taking into account the fact that Abood's tyres are 7 or 6 laps older, he's doing remarkably well, it has to be said. And I'm surprised as well that Serial Killer is not making more of an impression on XL Major. I know we know Major's quicker than Serial Killer, but those softs are only 3 laps old. They shouldn't be struggling too much, unless, of course, Serial Killer's got some chronic overheating issues. I think we're going to see another overtake here. And the Williams' plight is going to continue, because here comes Major. He's got this run on Axel towards turn 1, and this should be like taking candy from a baby. Axel covers the inside line very late towards the braking zone. Major has to slam on the brakes there. He still might get this move done around the outside. He's got a little pick up some extra traction, and he does, but that move was harder than it should have been, not for Major's fault. And there goes Serial Killer following him through up the inside of turn 2. And again, Axel, the Williams, slipping back through the field there. Couple of places lost for Axel, a couple of places lost for Riccia a lap or so ago. And and Serial Killer can have a look at Major here towards turn 5. Not on this occasion, but Serial Killer does look, after I said he wasn't, he now looks like a bit of a man on a mission. Penalty for H. Maguire, and that continues to ease Abood's situation up front, albeit with Abood yet to pit.
Yeah, the safety cars, those two safety cars really helping Abood keep his medium tires in check. Obviously, he hasn't pitted yet from them, started the race on them in P4. Up in the lead of the race right now, the two drivers behind him with 3 seconds of time penalties each, as Energetics picks up a 3-second time penalty down at the back of the field. No one really challenging him. He's going to be coming up to the back of Ibo very soon here. 8 tenths behind. He's going to just be catching him here kind of at the perfect time. He might get held up for a corner or 2, but we'll have DRS on him down towards turn 1 as Ibo very wide through the penultimate corner. But let's get back on board with these battles. Serial Killer, DRS on Excel Major. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do on the Alpha Tauri. He's going to look to the inside line, brakes later than Excel Major, just wide of the apex. Excel Major is going to try and get the switch back with those medium tires. No battle really for Serial Killer's soft tires, but I'm sure that battle will be flipping hands maybe in a few laps time. But even then, Excel Major still looking like he's kind of struggling on those medium compound tires. Swip is going to be the next driver up the road for those two. He's a bit wide through turn in this race. But yeah, just mentioning Abood, those safety cars really helped his medium tires, because now not as much tire wear. He hasn't been really had the opportunity to overheat them too much, but now H. Maguire maybe just getting the handle of things, because he's starting to reel the Ferrari driver back into his clutches.
He is indeed. It was around 1.4, 1.5. It's hovered down to 1.2 now, and then I think it just bounced up again as this toing and throwing corner by corner. You'd think at some point it is going to come towards H. Maguire if that moment doesn't come before the pit stop for Abood. Let's have a look at Swip. We've got Swip, Serial Killer, and Major. They've closed right up on Swip. Swip continuing his struggles a little bit. Just the race pace doesn't seem like it's quite there for Swip today. Same goes for the two Williamses, because I think Axel's about to lose a position. To Ben Scott, and here goes Serial Killer up the inside of turn one. Major just keeping a bit of a watch and breathe for now. Swip's happy to let that place go, and Major can't follow him through. I don't think Serial Killer's derated. Swip's got no DRS. Major will be... Oh, and then he goes very late indeed. That was catastrophically bad from XL Major. That should never have been attempted in a million years. I know XL Major watches the streams while he races, so yes, don't try that again, my son. Let's have a look. Ben Scott is still behind Axel, although Axel had a huge moment through turn 4 there just as we jumped on board, and Ben Scott had to get on the brakes very early for 5. Not having the best day are the two Williams drivers, but they're currently running okay in P8 and P10. So these are our little battles right now. We've got another one that's Energetics versus Jamie Met. He's passed Ibo on the last lap. He's passed Jess as well. And now onto the back of the second McLaren, and you can see how Axel is struggling through turn 11. That is in a bizarre line, covering fresh air into turn 12, just making the corner unnecessarily tight. Ben Scott will try to tuck that back underneath and go around the outside. There goes Energetics as well into turn 12 on Jamie Met, and Williams is so struggling for any kind of purchase on those tyres. Takes such a tight line. Oh, and then Ben Scott has a moment himself on the exit, which might just allow him, Axel, to survive another day. And let's have a look at Major and Swip into turn 1. There goes Major. He's dispatched the Alpine Aston Martin there, one of the 18 into turn 1. And that little mistake from Ben Scott meant he could not do the same to Axel, who again defends some fresh air there into turn 2.
Yeah, the two Williams looking a bit like the two Hasses in 2020, if you remember. Pitting, the early race was wet. I think there was 3 drivers came into the pit lane for slicks right away. The two Hasses, and I think it was Daniil Kvyat in that race, if my mind served me correctly. And they just began to slowly drop their way through the field, as the two Williams have been doing here, and as Ricky has dropped it on the curb there.
We've got one of Williams' shambles continues.
He's just in front of Jamie Met there, rejoining the circuit. Energetics will make his way through, but the Williams, as you can see there, have really been struggling for pace here at the Hungaroring, as Ben Scott just made his way past Axel. So Ben Scott will be off into some clean air to try and chase down Swip. 3.3 seconds is the gap in front of him. With Swip being inserted in between their battle, Serial Killer and XL Major have began to drift apart. Not much ERS for either of them. Serial Killer literally on 0% ERS as they headed down towards turn 1. XL Major not much more himself and was not within DRS range either. Just looking up at the front, Maura Bood has began to open up that gap once again. The gap to H. McGuire in second place is 1.8 seconds, but H. McGuire not sweating it too much. He knows the Ferrari driver has to stop once again. I think Aboud just waiting for a safety car or some rain, which possibly looks like it's not going to be coming anymore because those clouds are definitely dispersing.
I think they are. I don't think... sadly, there is no rain on the horizon, and it's sad that I'm saying sadly for rain, because I was dreading it at the start of the race, but there we go. H. McGuire is defending ably from Marcy. I think the reason is Marcy's got no ERS whatsoever at any point in this lap. We've got a yellow flag there. That is one of the Alpines. That's Ben Scott. Well, Ben Scott was having a shambles of a race in a week. He was slowly recovering it, and now he's gone back into my shambles books, into my bad books, and he rejoins just ahead of Rickia, who himself had that spin a lap or two ago. So all that good work wasted. It brings Energetics up another place, though, into P9. And if Energetics is going to the end of the race, as we suspect, he is in a good position. Or Jamie Met, and oh no, Rickia's lost it again. Williams shambles. All I've got to say on that one. But yeah, the battle I'm interested in is the H. McGuire, Marcy, Connor O'Keefe one. I feel like Connor O'Keefe is probably the quickest of all of these guys. He's got some ERS to use as well, but Marcy's DRS advantage over H. McGuire is being neutralised by his lack of ERS, so there's nothing really Connor can do to deal with either of those guys in front of him, because he needs Marcy to deal with H. McGuire first, and that's not happening either.
Yeah, so very difficult to overtake here at the Hungaroring. especially once you get into a DRS train. Just ask, or just tell me and Dylan about it from Division 1. Being stuck behind a wild Neo and a wild Nathan for about 10 laps is not exactly the most entertaining thing you've ever seen. Anyways, yeah, as you mentioned, Connor O'Keefe seems to be the fastest or have the most raw pace out of the two drivers in front of him, just not quite able to stick close enough to Marcy through the dirty air of that final sector onto the pit straight to get a move done. Marcy with no ERS, quite common for Marcy to have a no ERS. We've already seen it too many times in this race, as well as Ricky and Ibo getting into a little battle down for P12, the final points position, as Ibo will make his way up to P12 on track. A serial killer into the pit lane for a set of medium tires. We were kind of expecting that to happen sooner rather than later on the end of lap 20. Jamie will make his way past, and Jess will just be coming out side by side. Just brakes on the straight to give Serial Killer all the room that he needs, and Serial Killer will be off and on his way through into the clean air.
Energetics is going to go around the outside of Axel into turn 4. Oh, and Axel, what the hell are you doing, man? That corner was lost. That corner was lost by the exit of turn 3. Axel spins around, he tapped the inside rear tyre of Energetics there. That corner is wide enough for one, and for one only, and Energetics was a car length ahead, or at least 90% of the car length. And Axel thought, you know what, I'm going to stick a wheel in there. And he got his comeuppance, and he goes wide there at turn 7. Jamie Metz sneaks through. Serial Killer's going to do the same, I think, on his fresh medium tyres. And Axel having to take some evasive action. Yes. Marcy, though, very close to H. Maguire towards turn 1, because H. Maguire is also D-rating now. And Abood stretches lead to 2.4 seconds in the process. I wonder if Marcy Maguire's just starting to struggle and thinking maybe about a second stop sometime soon. I am expecting most of these top 6, well, in fact, I'm expecting all of the top 6 to make another stop. There goes Serial Killer past Jamie on DRS. But and you can see look how close Connor is to the back of Marcy as well. This is just waiting.
Marcy
Something
really
is waiting to happen. Yeah, I think Marcy and H. Maguire both struggling a little bit out front here.
Yeah, Marcy with a little bit of a snap through turn 4, another snap on the exit of turn 5 as well. So those medium tires really not going too well, it seems, for the Mercedes drivers. Ben Scott sets the fastest lap of the race on his medium compounded tires in P13. Just waiting really for something to happen out on track between any of the battles that we can see here. Abood still leading this race by a solid 2.2, 2.3 seconds, anywhere in between there. H. Maguire's opened up a little bit of a gap between him and Marcy, but Marcy making a few mistakes on this previous lap, helping H. Maguire nonetheless. So it's H. Maguire, Marcy, Connor O'Keefe, P2, P3, P4. Connor O'Keefe using his ERS, but to no avail. Can't get anywhere near close enough to Marcy to make a move. Excel Major, after crashing out in qualifying, starting down in P13, I want to say, for the Alpha Tower drivers, up to P5 in front of his championship rival if you want to call it that, Swip in P6 as well. 4 seconds in front of Energetics, who does have that 3-second time penalty, who's the latest or the highest out of the drivers, who doesn't have to make a pit stop, I don't think. But as we continue on in this race, it seems like most of these top 6 will not be in the pit lane by the end of this race, besides Abood. Sorry.
Yeah, Abood. I think they are. I think they're going to go for softs again. I can't see them enjoying going to the end on the medium. Just from what we know from D5, this was D1 or D2, I'd say, yeah, mediums to the end. But just, we're used to D5 making 2-stop strategies are common here. It's not criticism. It's just the way the races pan out. So I wouldn't put it past them yet. I mean, we've seen plenty of races this season. I think Russia was one where the leader just kept pitting until one shook out. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, Energetics, 18.5 seconds off the lead, is catching, is going to the end, presumably. We know Abood is definitely not. So at the very least, there's another position here to be had for Energetics. But I think everyone ahead of him, including Abood, will pit for softs at some point. That is my hypothesis. But we shall see.
Yeah, Energetics still going strong here, exactly 1,000th of a second slower than his personal best lap time on lap 23 of 35 for him. I'd also like just to thank Mark for being in the comment section, and to the 10 people viewing the Division 5 stream here tonight for round 14. Season 7, of course, here in League of Europe, giving you all the action that you can really ask for. But now that Abood, well, I guess now that we've been talking about Abood, the gap has dropped down to 1.9 seconds, so losing around half a second there was TTG Abood. And Maguire starting to close in and then losing a little bit of time through the back half of that middle sector. Marcy, Connor O'Keefe just staying in tow, just doing whatever they can really, but to not much of never mind. English doesn't work. Jamie Met and Axel are right behind. Axel's right behind Jamie Met.
As I said earlier, that's it, Packer. Use your words. Let's have a look. Well, you say we've got some action. I mean, look at the state of that track map, ladies and gents, because it is sparsely populated, shall we say. We've got 14 runners in this race. Top 12 get points. So that goes down to Ben Scott currently. Jess Kamer has a penalty. That's a rare sight in Division 5 this season. As Axel gets past Jamie Met in towards turn 13, and I think he's miscalculated, shall we say, because I think Jamie Met has got DRS here, and he has indeed. Let's have a look. Axel Kerr's D-rating down towards turn 1, as David Croft would say. James Met's gaining, and he's not close enough on this occasion. But then Axel has a little bit of a squirm on traction. I need to James Head then, not Jamie Met. Good lord. What a world that would be if we had James Head in Division 5. I would love to be in that party. Energetics and Swip now we've got in close company. Energetics is taking a second out of our leader Abood since I last mentioned as well. And he looks well poised to pick up another place here. P6 from Swipper. Swip has a moment there coming through turn 11, and this is just going to bring Energetics into a nice range to pick off the Aston Martin into turn 1. And is that Marcy very close to the back of H. Maguire? I think it is, and he's going to go for it very late, very deep. He's going to bump wheels, and he's spun round there. Goes the Mercedes, and I think that was an ill-advised attempt. He's as close as he's been all race, but it wasn't close enough. And here comes Energetics surging past Swip, who puts up significantly less resistance than H. Maguire. And we go through turn 1, and bizarre line there from the helicam we can see for Energetics. Just clipped the grass there, but he is up into P6, albeit at the expense of around half a second or so, with his gap to Abood, who now leads by 2.7 seconds. You said it was coming down, and just like the tides, what comes down, it's now going back out again.
Yeah, H. Maguire, Marcy there, down into turn 1. Marcy just a little bit deep into the side pod of H. Maguire, and he's been spun around. Serial Killer, down to turn 4, has lost his front wing. Yellow flag in the middle sector for that Axel, and Jamie Met just ending up on the scene here. You can see that broken front wing in the grass there on the left-hand side. Serial Killer's going to really have to get out of the way as Abood into the pit lane here. So, how is this going to change up things in this race? H. Maguire will assume the lead of this race with his time penalty. Connor O'Keefe has really, taken this opportunity to show what type of pace he's had. He's opening up the DRS. H. Maguire not having the DRS assistance, of course, being not 1 second behind anybody, being in the lead of this race, of course. So, Connor O'Keefe has the opportunity to go and win this race, even though he already is.
Energetics was very ready for a fight to turn 1, then he swung right over to cover the pit lane exit line, and then back out when he realised he was safely ahead of Abood. But yeah, Energetics was very ready for a fight. Luckily for Abood, he's come out just ahead of Swip, so that saves him some time. We've got a few pitters now, a few second stops happening. Not the ones I thought. I thought we would see Maguire, Connor, Marcy, Major in, but not yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen the characteristic penalty from Connor O'Keefe this race, which is interesting. It would make it it would make it an interesting battle for the lead if Connor were to pick up that time penalty, because then him and H. Maguire would both be on 3 seconds. Just give me a sec.
Well, let's have a look at this Abood Energetics battle, because I think Abood is going to get one done here. Marcy's into the pit, so there we go. Some second stops are happening But is it going to be all of them, or is Maguire going to try to stay out? Connor O'Keefe going to try and make these mediums last to the end of the race? Here comes Abood. I think it's going to be as easy as you like.
Well, just by the way.
I think Abood is going to be nicely done into turn one. Brake in, turn in, pick up the apex, drive the car away on those soft tyres, open the DRS again. Easy as you like. Nice and simple. Abood up into 4th place. I think Energetics 5th place is the best he can hope for. He's 10 seconds ahead of Marcy with 8 laps to go, including this one. So that's going to be an interesting battle towards the end of this race.
Yeah, quite a few drivers into the pit lane for a set of soft tires. Jamie met into the pits just now. Axel, Serial Killer, Jess on the pit lane on the previous lap. Serial Killer obviously having to pit for that wing damage. Cerbo on the hards into P9 for the time being. So still on 4 points here is the Mercedes driver. Ben Scott P8, literally in no man's land after that qualifying ban that he had. Marcy P7 just making his pit stop onto a set of soft tires, 5 seconds behind Swip, who's 4.5 seconds behind Energetics, and that gap is increasing very, very quickly as Energetics now, after a lap, 3 seconds behind, 3 seconds behind Abood, as he's on to the back of Excel Major, and that's going to be the fastest lap of this race. Used all his DRS, had a DRS overtake on Energetics, and has DRS on Excel Major as well. Down to turn 1, no move for the time being, as Ibo, just as I started talking about him, is around and down into P12. Abood and Major getting close to each other, but not quite close enough is Abood in the Ferrari. He's just going to take his time here. I would imagine he does kind of have to get a move on, because Connor O'Keefe and H. Maguire 9 seconds up the road. Let's see what it's going to be. Excel Major derating up here to turn 4. TTG Abood doesn't have much more ERS either, but I think he's just going to have to sit behind for the time being. He's going to look into the chicane. He looks, he tries it. Excel Major gets spooked a little bit, and he's going to have to cut the chicane as Marcy picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Abood's going to be into the P3.
I think Major would have had an illegal overtake there. That was, I'd say that was a naughty send from Abood. He did properly spook Major, but very naughty attempt, I think, because if Major hadn't taken some serious avoiding action, that would have ended in tears. So 9.3 seconds is the gap to the lead. I think Maguire and Connor O'Keefe are going to stick this one out. So we've got LOE Hot Pursuit. Ladies and gents, it's going to be Abood versus Connor O'Keefe and H. Maguire. He's got 6 laps, tied 8.6 seconds on it. Brand spanking new set of softs. He's derating, but he's got the pace in hand, I think, to catch up. But has he got enough to make 2 overtakes? And Connor and Maguire have got to be conscious here. They need to work together. I think H. Maguire's fate may be sealed with that penalty if those behind him don't pick one up. But certainly for Connor, he'll be wanting to work with H. Maguire, push on, and just keep Abood as much distance as he can. It was 8.6 seconds starting this lap. We're already down to 8.0. And I think it's going to come down even more than it has already in the middle sector, as H. Maguire gets very out of shape through turn 6 and 7, but Slumpcon not close enough to overtake. It's just so short of a run towards turn 8, but the gap already has brought Abood another second closer. It's 6.8 seconds. I think Abood could have this race won 2 or 3 laps from the end of the race at this rate. 6.5, 6.4. He's so much quicker. He's taken 2 seconds out of them on this lap alone, and he's going to take even more, 6.2, through the last few corners, because the older tyres really suffer through these long high load corners. And it's down to 6.1, 6.0 coming across the line. So let's have a look at let's have a look at fastest laps. We've got 16.1 for Abood, 19.3 for Connor O'Keefe, 3 seconds quicker for the Ferrari. Major has conceded on those tyres. He's into the pits. Swip and Marcy are going to overtake him, and in the process, Marcy overtakes Swip into turn 1.
Yeah, Marcy getting that move done, just catching up to Swip at the very beginning of that previous lap. Was unable to make a move in the middle sector, but he's now past the Aston Martin 24-lap-old medium tires for Swip, for Connor O'Keefe, for H. Maguire as well. And TTG Abood is absolutely flying here under the sun in the at the Hungaroring. Energetics 7 seconds behind on those 17-lap-old medium tires, and has pulled together quite the strategy for himself, as he's now in front of his championship rival, who has just pit. So as of right now, Major spin, and he's out.
Oh, that is huge majors out, and that is a
Safety
car. Maguire and Connor O'Keefe have got to come in. They've got to come in. Energetics will come in as well. You imagine Marcy as well, and Aboud's advantage like that is going. Oh no, Aboud's going to come in as well. Aboud's coming in. He's giving up track position to get another fresh set of softs, and in the process, well, Energetics' penalty is going to be very costly as well, isn't it, with the safety car towards the end of this race?
Yeah, I don't think Aboud is going to lose too much here, except for maybe to Marcy.
I meant in relation to Maguire and O'Connor. He could have overtaken those guys and banked on himself having the pace. Instead, he's going to be content to sit behind him because Marcy had gone on to softs and he stayed out. He's happy with his softs. So I think Aboud, he had the pace that, even with 3-lap-old tyres, if he was ahead of Maguire and O'Connor, he would have been fine. I think he would have been fine, but we'll see.
I think this is where we're gonna get our mistake from H. Maguire. High pressure situation right at the end of a race in a very difficult street type-esque circuit, if you will, something like that. This is where the mistakes are going to start to fly in, especially with track limits as well. People are going to begin to pick up warnings and penalties for just pushing that a little bit too hard. And Connor O'Keefe, I would just like to mention, has 2 warnings. He's had 2 warnings since lap 3, so he's done very well not to pick up a penalty to this point in this race, but still looking he's looking over the edge into the 3-second time penalty window. H. Maguire, Marcy with penalties as well. Let's just bring those up. H. Maguire with 3 seconds, Marcy with 6 seconds, and then Aboud with none. Energetics with 3, and with this safety car, that brings Swip, Ben Scott, Serial Killer, Axel all back into this race. Ibo with 3 seconds in P10. He's decided not to pit, which is an interesting decision. He's going to stay out on those 21-lap-old hard tires. So sticking to the strategy, here is Ibo, Jess, Jamie Met, both on softs, no penalties, and then Ricky in P13. With a 3-second time penalty down at the back. As of right now, only one driver won't get points, and it looks to be Ricky for the time being. But that's Excel Major's first real mess up of this entire season. Besides Bahrain, where he finished and scored no points, that's the first time he's really made a mistake.
It is, and you've got to bear that in mind and take those things into account when you're in Energetic's position, writing the season off as he was when he was about 10 points behind. You can't afford to do that. Mistakes will happen for your rivals, and you've got to be ready to pounce on them. I mean, currently, were he to stay in 5th place, albeit with that penalty to take into account, he would take the gap down to 27 points, which is 1 point away from being within a win and a fastest lap, and he took a win and a fastest lap in the first race of the season. So he's very much in a doable situation for Energetics, and he might even find some more time here. He's going to overtake Marcy on penalties. And, high pressure situation with 2 laps to go. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another warning or penalty creep in for someone in that gaggle behind him. So, it's never over till it's over in Energetics. I hope he's feeling buoyed from this result, wherever he ends up, because since he threw away that win at Zandvoort, he has looked a little forlorn, shall we say, in Division 5.
Yeah, well, threw away that win on the going on to the final lap, finished 2nd to Excel Major. Next race he didn't show up, and then China obviously not finishing after the break week, as safety car will be forced to be in this lap, but we're going to have 2 laps of racing. No DRS action here at the end of Division 5. Looks like we're getting a Division 1 repeat with just no Rain and no Nathan. So here we go. H. Maguire will lead us to the start-finish line. Connor O'Keefe will be close in tow. Marcy will be looking to make moves, try and get up to the front and gain as much time as possible. Aboud's been looking quick all race long. Energetics in a very strong position with Excel Major out of this race. H. Maguire, I think he's going through the final corner now.
He is indeed, and Aboud's got completely out of shape through the last corner. He's already lost a place to Energetic, he's lost a place to Swip, and he's going to lose a place to Ben Scott as well, all before the line. That's technically illegal, that overtake, but I think given the situation, I think they were all within their rights to pass him. He was very out of shape, and he's tried to send it back on Ben Scott towards turn 1. He's got damage. He must have hit the back of Marcy somewhere under the safety car. He's going to lose another place here to Axel into turn 2. So that's Aboud's race that he controlled for so long. Written off penalty for Ben Scott. I said someone would probably get one. There goes one for Ben Scott. So that saves Energetics another place, and he's gained one from Aboud. So this has been a productive lap so far. He's got Marcy well within his sights. Marcy is on, I think, slightly older tyres than Energetics. Let's have a look. He is by 4 laps. So there is a chance here for Energetics as Jamie Met now dispatches Aboud through turn 6 and 7. You can see Marcy struggling through 8, 9, 10 through 11. He's just not got the same grip Energetics has, and he's got such a run as the Red Bull towards turn 12. Marcy doesn't know where to defend, and there goes Energetics. This is the kind of moves he needs to make to win a championship, and there he goes up into third place, up into the podium places. And now he needs Marcy to do the Lord's work and keep Swip and Ben Scott bottled up behind him. He needs to get those 3 seconds in hand very quickly. Swip is the big threat right now. But Swip, I think, is getting passed by Ben Scott into the last corner. He is indeed. So that's huge for Energetics. He's now got 2 people with penalties directly behind him. So that's the field spread there is going to play into his hands up front. Connor isn't making an impression on H. Maguire, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to avoid a penalty as we hit the last lap here. And I don't want to do, what is his name, Johnny Evans, and deny you, Packer, the chance to speak in these last 2 laps. So do you want to take us through the next few corners?
Yeah, Connor O'Keefe 0.2 of a second behind, a little bit of a slide as we head up the hill through turn 4. Yeah, Connor O'Keefe, only one other win this season, Austria, exactly 10 rounds ago. And it looks like he's going to be taking another one here, bar the commentator's curse. H. Maguire still leading this race. He looks like he might just be able to pick up P2 as Ibo will make his way past the boot, and that's going to be Ibo into the points for
Ben
the time
Scott's
being.
Gone.
As Ben Scott has made a mistake, has spun around in the middle sector there, and that's going to be him down to P9 on track. Those soft tires are going to be absolutely screaming. But Swip still close enough for the time being to gain off of Energetics penalty as he spun again, has Ben Scott down to P11, but it's going to be H. Maguire around the final corner here in Hungary to take the win out on track, but it's going to be Connor O'Keefe who comes weaving across the line to take the victory here in Hungary. Round number 14, of course, for Division 5. H. Maguire P2, Energetics by 1,000th of a second will take the podium over Swip JMB. So missing out by the tightest of margins was Swip there. Serial Killer will take home P5 in a 3-5 for Red Bull. A good result there for them. Axel in a shock P6 really for the Williams team. Marcy P7 as well with those 6 seconds of penalties. The 2 McLarens, or the McLaren scoring double points once again. Jamie Met and Jess P8 and P9. Ricky at P10. Ibo picking up points in P11 as Ben Scott hit the pit lane and retired as TTG Aboud. I'm not sure if he got 13th or 12th. I'm not entirely sure as he didn't get bans. We'll give driver of the day to Serial Killer. So Aboud still picking up that 1 point, but a crazy finish to quite the interesting race, and the championship fight has just shaken up a little bit. 39 points, and if my math is correct, down to, I want to say 24?
If it is 24, then that means Connor O'Keefe is 34 behind. He was only 20 points behind Energetics, so he's taken 10 out of the Dutchman. So Connor O'Keefe has thrown himself in this championship fight. But you say 1,000th of a second for Energetics. Those overtakes from Marcy and Ben Scott proving invaluable for the Dutchman on that safety car restart. So Connor O'Keefe wins, as you said, from second on the grid. Maguire comes home second place, getting a result finally that matches his performance, but I think he needs to change that Russian flag before next week. Energetics in P3, Swip in fourth. He lacked for pace a little bit today, Swip, but he came home with a very strong result in the end. Serial Killer fifth from his qualifying ban, great result for him. Axel in sixth, Marcy seventh, Jamie and Jess in eighth and ninth, good results for them. And then Ricky, Ibo and Aboud rounding out the points. You can tell I don't know commentators because I have no idea who the other PSGL commentator is. I think I said Johnny Evans, but that's a Northern Irish footballer, so I've got no clue. You can tell I don't follow League Racing. I just try to be relevant and funny, but I am neither of those things. I am very senile and outdated and not at all humorous. But given the late start, there will be no interviews today, I'm afraid. Regards of Division 3's restart that they had to have. But we'll have interviews back next week, definitely. whatever track it is. What track is it?
For Canada.
It is Canada. Oh Lord, we're going to be in single digits there for drivers finishing the race. Well, we'll talk a lot and make something happen. But today has been an interesting one, I think. The first 12 laps were, I use the word shambles a lot. There was some chaotic and frankly unnecessary aggression from some of the Division 5 drivers. But congratulations to Slumpcon, very much catapulted himself into the championship fight now. In good form, back-to-back podiums for the first time this season. And you have to wonder where Slumpcon could have been. It's his second win after Austria. Had DNFs at Monaco, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. Very costly, but not for those. He could have been much closer to major. But he was 59 points behind. He's cut that to 34, so as you say, it will be 24, the gap between Energetics and major. So we have seen, I think, our title fight turn into a three-way title fight. So, Packer, have you got anything to say before we end the stream?
I would just like to say that Swip has continued his 14 race points scoring streak. Finished every race and scored points in every race this season. So congratulations to Swip.
And he's only got 3 more races to keep it up. So congratulations to Swip. Congratulations to Slupcon. Congratulations to Energetics for sneaking by far less than a blink of an eye. A third place finish by 1,000th of a second. And congratulations to H. Maguire as well, because that is his fourth podium since Bahrain. But there's been a few DNFs and mistakes in there as well. But we'll see you next week, same time, same place on the League of Europe YouTube channel for Canada. Do tune in to us. Do come watch Division 5. Don't worry about those D5 goons. We're much more relevant and significant and important in the league racing community. We are the best division in any league, anywhere. I'm sure They Hate Melty would agree. Not least because we commentate. So thank you all. We'll see you next week. Until then, from ourselves, from myself, from Packer, goodbye.